Good morning. Welcome to what is Friday, June the 2nd. I'm Pastor Krueger, obviously outside the entrance of Holy Cross Lutheran Church. From Psalm 118, verse 24, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Beautiful day the Lord has given us. Let's take a look at what things are going to look like on Sunday morning for those that come to 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and use these narthex doors on Monday night at 7. But the school entrance will be open as well, because if there's any rainy weather, we don't want people walking outside all over in the rain and getting soaked. So on Sunday and Monday you can come in these narthex doors, or on Monday. Well, let's get inside where you can hear me. So obviously 8 o'clock, a lot of people 10, Monday night 7, familiar setting. The doors, you've been waiting to enter again, and there we are, the narthex. Just got to pick up a brace. So here we are. Not very high tech, so just bear with me. The narthex you've been waiting for, and you see I'm wearing a mask. You enter the narthex and the sanctuary wearing a mask. So we ask that you wear a mask in the building. So when you enter, if the school entrance, please have your mask on in the building. Entering through the narthex, please have your mask on in the building. We are about being other focused. We have been practicing a lot of safety this summer and all these weeks that the building has been very empty. We've been practicing it outside, setting a good example for others. Leaving our personal inconveniences, personal feelings, politics, we leave those outside the door. So just let me start with this word. As your pastor, leave your politics outside the door. This is God's house of worship and prayer. We are other focused, and that's where we should be in the world anyways. But we know too many people that are not other focused as we would want them to be for our safety. So, one more time, leave your politics at the door on Sunday and Monday. You're not here for that. You're here for word and sacrament ministry and fellowship with God's people. The narthex is a welcome sight. There are no spots on the floor to tell you where you can stand and not stand. We expect that when you walk in, as we asked in the letter, you're going to want to go right into the church and get ready for worship. So ushers will be there at the door to open it, to make sure you can get in without really having to touch anything. There'll be hand washing stations here you can use if you need to. The usher will be here at the door, and we'd ask you to use the middle door, please. We want the air conditioning on the weekends because it's a lot easier to breathe when you're not breathing just hot air through the mask all the time. But as many of you know, air doesn't stay cold when these doors stay open. So you'll open the door, you'll walk in, and you'll see little spots right on the floor where it shows those 6-foot tape strips. That's for safety. Now families, walk together. That's not a problem. You live under the same roof, not a problem. But if you're from different households, then please use the safety distance practices. They are best practices. They are other focused. And when you come in, if you're a family, you sit together in the pew. Don't worry about the little blue tape that says where in the pew you can sit, but the pews you can sit on have a piece of blue tape at the top. So that one has a piece of blue tape. You can sit in that pew. That one doesn't. So that pew is not to be used. Every other pew for worship. And if you're a family, go into that pew, sit together. You live together. You're not going to be a risk to anybody else around you that's not in your house. So if you're a family, don't worry about these little pieces of tape along the way that show where you can safely keep distance from one another. If you're a family, you just sit together. If you don't live under the same roof, then you sit where those pieces of blue tape are. And that tells you where it's safest for one another. It's a best practice, and it is other focused. This is the view many of you have been waiting for. Come back into church, celebrate word and sacrament, celebrate gathering at the cross for communion, singing together, worshiping together. Worship services will be a little shorter, obviously. Target 40, 45 minutes max, so kind of like a midweek service during Advent and Lent. But shorter time in here, safer, less singing, safer, and less speaking, safer. And for those of you that are wondering, yeah, shorter sermon, imagine that. You've been seeing my sermon style over these past several weeks. On Wednesdays. So that's what you'll see on Sundays. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Nathaniel will be upstairs at the organ for 8 o'clock service. And the worship and praise team will be right here for 10 o'clock service. Remember, 10 o'clock, that's the summertime, not 10:30. 10 o'clock, they'll be here. They're going to be wearing masks. They're going to be 6 foot apart. They, as worship leaders, are setting the example. You, as God's people, set the example. Our congregation leaders, elders, staff members, vestry, they are leaders. They set the example. So that's what we're asking for all of you. Parents, you set the example for your kids. Kids, you set the example for younger kids, so we can gather here safely around Word and Sacrament. Now, if you are a Monday night worshiper, well, before we get there, remember the blue spots on the carpet show you how to come up for communion, 6 foot apart each. So one side at a time, you'll be walking up to communion. And when you get up here for 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, you will not go to the rails. There's just no way to get communion at 8 o'clock flowing in a timely fashion with 2 people on each side of the rails. So you will just go up one side at a time, and there's even the blue marks that continue to show you how to come up, keep distance. There's another one up the steps. There's another one and out the door there. That's for the pulpit side. Lectern side, you're used to being on this side by the grand piano. So you just take communion and you walk back down the aisle, and you will also see in the aisles themselves blue tape that marks how to be safe and distance from each other. So my view of all of you will be from obviously the front of the church, and this is what I will see. And I will see all of you sitting out there as families and groups or as individuals spread apart. I'll see your mask. It'll be interesting to see what kind of mask we've all been wearing this summer. And then when you leave church, they're going to usher you out from the back. So it's a safe practice so that not everybody attending church walks right by you. And we'll offer times for you to stand and turn around and see others around you so you don't feel like you're missing people. But nobody's hanging out in the narthex. You come into church, you come right into the church. It's going to keep the narthex as a safe zone for people that need a little break from their mask. If you feel like you need to get up and take a few good, deep cleansing breaths without your mask, then keep it on, but get out here in the narthex, take the mask down a little bit. Oh, nice cool air, fresh breath, but you don't re-enter the sanctuary until you have the mask back on. And if you are doing this at the end of the service and you're in the narthex, mask back on. Best practice, safe practice, other focused. So on Monday night, 7 o'clock, they know the drill. Some come up the school entrance, some come through the narthex. And they walk in, same thing, door open, door shut. It'll keep it cool for you. And here's the view. All these chairs have been set apart. Steve Nichols has been working his tail off, and he's a hard worker anyways, but he's done just about everything in the sanctuary and chapel to make it ready for us. Husband, wives, might be a little awkward, but I'm going to talk about that in a moment. If you're not from the same household, obviously you're sitting in these chairs, all 6 feet apart. Please don't pick them up, move them close together. If you're husband and wife, then come over here. Sit in the pews that have blue tape. You don't have to sit 6 feet apart in those pews if you're from the same home, living under the same family. But no tape, don't sit in that one. Look for the next one, sit there. There's a great view from these pews. I can sit here from a pew. I can see everything that I need to see in the chapel. And as far as communion is concerned, I will come to you for communion. So when I am up front and I am up here at the altar, this is what I'll see. I'll see people sitting out there in their chairs, families or married couples sitting in the pews, and this is what they'll see. But it's best practice, it's safe practice, and other focused. That's what we're about. Now, remember, there are going to be some ways we feel inconvenienced by all of this, but this is not set in stone for the next 3 months. It is set in stone for June. And then the elders at their July meeting will talk about how we've done. Obviously, people will say what they think about it or such. The vast majority of people I've talked with, overwhelming majority in the drive-up communion outside, are looking forward to coming back. They have no issues wearing masks because they realize it's a best practice, it's a safe practice, and it's other-focused. So it's a broken record for me, but I've got to keep saying that because we've got some members that just don't get it. What we do here is about each other's safety. So where you're sitting, it's safe, it's healthy, it's other-focused, because the cross reminds us God is other-focused. He sent his son Jesus to die for you. That's other-focused. You can't get better than that. So remember why you're here. You're here for word and sacrament, not for comfortableness under a mask. But the mask is best practice, it's safe practice, and other-focused. If you can say that with me now, you got the message. We'll see you Sunday at 8, Sunday at 10, Monday at 7, inside the building, masks on, inside the sanctuary, masks on. And remember, we are here as children of God in fellowship again, word and sacrament. Psalm 118, verse 24, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.